I just want to welcome everyone. This is from Worldwide Logistics. I'm Mickey Summerlin.
I'm Susan Mace.
And what we want to do today is really just show you the amount of claims that we have, try to bring some attention to them and some of the reasons that we think we're actually experiencing some of these claims. It's real hard to get in front of everyone with having so many terminals, so this is just something we're doing just to give it a trial basis to see if it works, see how many people really know what kind of claims are being called in, what type of damages, where they're coming from, and what our customers are actually thinking and what they're seeing. In most cases, when they see these claims, we are the carrier. They think we tore it up, they think we damaged it, and a lot of times that's not the case. We pick the product up, we pick it up with visible damage and concealed damage. A lot of times our shippers load the trailers that way for us with damaged items on it that's coming out of the cartons. So we're going to try to raise the awareness. In the first part of this presentation, we're going to show what a 4-week period of claims looks like. Susan does a great job on taking a spreadsheet. She keeps up with it on a weekly basis, and she takes this spreadsheet, and every time someone calls a claim in, she reports it. We take this information, we send it out to all the terminal managers and let them look at it just as a snapshot of how the week's turned out. Susan, you want to add anything to that?
And I think you'll see from these reports, the claims that I do receive weekly, it'll kind of blow your mind at the volume that we're dealing with here.
Alright, so we're going to step out in front of the camera, and behind me you'll start seeing some screenshots, and we'll talk to you as we progress through the screenshots. Sorry for it taking so long, but this is about the only way we've got that we can do this. How I want to start this actual video off is, we talked about, we talked about how many claims we have. When we get these claims, I hope you can see all this pretty well on this video. I think they'll come out okay. You guys can blow them up, do whatever you want to after you receive them. But if you look at this, and what you're looking at, it's a spreadsheet. This spreadsheet here, if you look at it, is the claims that were received the week ending of July the 30th. During that week, we had this, all these claims filed, or in a lot of cases they're not filed yet. But what we get is we get a report from the driver, we get the shipper calling us, we get the delivery, customer calling us. But they call us and tell us, hey, we've got this type of damage. Or if you notice in the the first one, it's an order, it's the pro number, you can read it. They got the shipper is ACO. Then you also have it originating in Riverside. It was taken to Puyallup. Puyallup in turn delivered it. And we have a concealed damage claim. And if you look at the amount, it's $1,099. The second one down, you see another pro, Bernhardt item. It's a local shipper here in North Carolina. It originated in Morganton, and Morganton took it and delivered it en route, and the piece was lost. Now, we don't know if that piece was actually ever came into this facility. All we can tell you is the driver signed for it, and that was one of our big meetings that we had with all of our local drivers, and I hope everyone at the terminal level takes their local drivers and has this same meeting with them. When you're signing the paperwork, make sure you're signing for what you're getting. We, in a lot of cases, will sign that we received a bed, and the bed will come in and it's in 3 cartons. However, the shipper puts his bill of lading, he lists it as a bed, and it's 1 carton. So it creates us overages. It creates us, a lot of cases, before the overage even gets reported, they've cross-docked it, they've loaded the headboard, left the footboard and rails here, the overage comes in, we find it, well, it was a cross-dock, it left out yesterday. So it creates another delivery and an unhappy customer. But if you look at this one, and I'm not going to the details of every one of them, you guys can, watch this, read it, do whatever, however you want to look at it and scrutinize it. But if you do notice, look at all the concealed damages. I know we have our fair share of damages that we create ourselves, but it's hard for me to believe that on every one of these, we did it. So what we're asking for is the local drivers especially, or anytime we're picking up any furniture anywhere, make sure we're receiving good product. That is the crucial step of this. And as I go into this is really going to be about a sly order and what actually happened and what we've done to correct it. But once, people take once whoever gets the information out to someone first is usually whoever everybody thinks is right. And that's not always the case. But if you look at week 1 that we're going to show here as demonstration, it ended the week of July the 30th. All these claims that you see here, and I'll scroll through them a little bit quick because I just want to get to the bottom page. But if you look, that's a lot of claims, guys. That was $17,562.49 worth of claims called into us. Does not mean we cut a check for $17,562. That was just the amount of the furniture that was damaged that was reported to us. We do have, agreements with a lot of these companies. Some of these will return into repair invoices. Some of them will have to pay full value for it. Just depends on what particular customer. If you notice one up here, if you can see my cursor coming across, you see a Marge Carson. West Coast shipper, very expensive. The product, they do package it well. But in this particular case, you got an $1,824 agreement. We have no signed rate agreements with these, with this shipper saying like a free stray or they'll return and repair, no charge or anything like that. These Marge Carsons and several of the other ones really eat us alive in the dollar values. But week 1, $17,500. So we're kind of shocked. So we start off week 2. This is the week ending in August the 6th. You notice the same thing we have. We've got upholstery. The first 3 of these are upholstery. One of our biggest problems we have. We rub a lot of holes in them. They get drugged through the warehouses. They ride beside a cardboard. The plastic is thinner now. The shipping is, one of the ways that they take so much of the cost of the transportation out of it nowadays. It used to be everything was cardboard box, and they went to a shrink wrap, then they went to a plastic that's even thinner than the shrink wrap they were using, previously. They used to put it in trays, used to use corner blocks, then shrink wrap it. And if you look at a lot of the upholstery today, it's down to a very, very thin piece of plastic that's on it. It's not even heat shrink or heat shrunk to the end of the items anymore. It's just taped to the bottom. Some have trays, some do not. And it's getting cheaper and cheaper. And it's the same way within our case good industry. A lot of our packaging in our case goods, if you notice the next 3 items after you get through 3 upholstery, there's 3 Hooker items. Hooker does okay. Hooker, their product, we have a lot of damages with them. They work with us pretty well, but they're one of the, I guess you'd say like an industry terminology nowadays, directional packaging. And what does that mean? Does that mean just because they put arrows on it? No. The arrows are showing how the best for this material or these items to ride. And it's not only because that's the only way it will ride, it's where they're putting their internal packaging. A lot of times, like Hooker, we had one dining room table, we've ordered 4 of them. And we keep getting damages on the sides. Well, the sides of the tables are not protected. That's not the way they wanted the item to be shipped. They wanted the item to be shipped laying flat, so that they no longer have to put these side corner blocks or whatever in there. Same way with a lot of the end tables and things. They do not make it to where it can be shipped in any direction. So, that's where the term directional shipping is coming from. If you look down through here some more, you see another one that's very expensive. That's Visible Damage, Inscape. It's a third-party logistics company. They bring it to us. It came into Dallas. I think it comes from
Canada.
You remember the shipper? Western Logistics.
MacArthur
Express delivers it to us. So I take it, since this one's a visible damage, we either damaged it and we hauled it out to the place it was going to for delivery, or we received it damaged. And that goes back to the original, what I was talking about. We've got to make sure the product that we're receiving is in good shape, and that we stand a good chance of getting it delivered. That's a very important part of all of this. That Kimball office, or the Inscape piece, patio, or not patio, but office furniture, $2,000. You got another one, Omni America here out of Riverside. Riverside hauled it up to Stockton. Stockton took it out and delivered it. We got concealed damage, $2,050. So another one at the bottom of Thayer-Coggin, Morganton, concealed damage, $1,850. So you look at the end of week 2, you've got another $11,000. You had $17,500 to begin with, so you're at $29,000 in 2 weeks that have been reported to us. You go to week 3, ending August 13th. Starts out exactly the same way. You start out with the furniture, visible damage. You know, we stand very little chance on visible damage of ever winning those. You look down through, it's the same, you know, the same people. You got American Furniture. You've got it originating in Puyallup. Puyallup was delivered it so that, you know, it never went outside of Puyallup. It was in their hands. Riverside to Dallas, Riverside to Milwaukee, Morganton to Morganton, concealed damage on Bernhardt. We got it, you know, $95. That was a very cheap one. But, you know, you're, like I just said, you've had 2 weeks worth. You're at $28,000, and at the end of week 3, we add up another $18,000. So you're at $46,000 in 3 weeks of damages that have been called into us. The last week on this report that we're going to show you, week ending August the 20th. And I'm not giving you data, guys, that goes back 8 months ago. I'm giving you data that ended 2 weeks ago. You look at it, same thing. Stanley Furniture, Morgan picked it up, delivered it out to Stockton. Stockton took it and delivered its concealed damage. You got a piece here from Knoll. It was Orlando received it. Another one that's got a third-party logistics company that brings it to them. Orlando delivered it. Probably one of the shortest route terminals that we have. Got visible damage, $456. Same information. You know, I really like for somebody to look at them. If you see your originating terminals on here, and you see that it was delivered at the same terminal, like you see one right off, you know, real close here. I don't see one right on this page. Well, here's a Riverside. Riverside picked it up, Riverside delivered it, and the piece was refused because we damaged it. So something happened on this particular order, and we didn't cross-dock it, we didn't take it anywhere. We received it at one terminal, take it to, you know, the same terminal delivered, and it was refused. So you're at 3 weeks, you're at $46,000, and on the 4th week you add another 8 to it. So take 48, add 18 more to it, you're at $66,000 in 4 weeks. So I cannot stress that enough to you. I know we're better than that. I know all these concealed damages are not just from a lack of us loading our trucks correctly or packing our trucks, you know, to prevent a lot of this from happening. So with that said, what I really want to get into here, and I want to show you as an example of what we actually, you know, what happened and how we reacted. Back, I guess you can look at this, back in August, I take it that Don Palmer went out to the Vegas market. And if you're looking at this email he got back, and I want to read it, I don't know I'll read every word of it, but I want you to understand what we've seen. It says, "Hi Don, per our conversation at market, I wanted to review with you some of the complaints, comments, and feelings our dealers have said to us regarding Worldwide Logistics handling and delivery of the Sly product. These concerns involved items shipped from both the Riverside, California and High Point, North Carolina. So it's coming from both ends of the country where we do 3PL. I've included some pictures to support the concerns as well. The 5 FedE pictures that were taken by us in July as we were at FedE's when the delivery was made. These complaints center around many different things from rude, unhelpful drivers to cartons standing on end with crushed corners, taped corners, outside scratches, holes in the cartons that are covered up with tape, and some with inside damage to the product at the hole that was taped over the spot. And every dealer mentions how very, very dirty the cartons are. A lot of these claims are from crushed corners on the cases and the pieces and the desk credenzas with one side pedestals sticking out of the case. Doors are off their hinges or broken hinges and doors, etc. The dealers believe this is from the goods being stood and handled on end, contrary to Sly's carton instruction. Goes back to what I was telling you about directional cartoning and the way they're cutting back to save money, you know, in today's market. I'm inclined to agree with the dealers, especially after you mentioned to Rob and I that you have to do it that way to store it in the warehouse, and in some cases even to ship it. It would appear that Worldwide Logistics handling and shipping policies are at odds with Sly's expressed carton labels for safe handling of the product. Sly must have a reason for the arrows. Somehow other carriers like Cook, for instance, seem to be able to carry our products and safely deliver them without complaints, when we've not once had any dealer complain about receiving our cartons standing on the ends. I believe it's a poor reflection on us as a company in the dealer's eyes if we don't address these issues. Their perception of Worldwide Logistics as a high-quality, trouble-free furniture carrier is just not there. It goes from a neutral to a negative. We've even had several complaints regarding Worldwide Logistics freight claim process as being frustrating. time-consuming and impersonal, and with a great lack of follow-through. It's amazing how most of these same dealers love Cook and say their experience is just the opposite with them. And I've included a list of dealers, reps, and others for you to contact if you wish. They are all prepared to talk with you in regards to these issues. And lastly, Don, the intent here is not to dump on you. On the contrary, it's to let you know what we're seeing and hearing in the field as Sly's reps, and with the goal of improving our service to the dealers. So I read that face value when I first got it, and I probably took the same assumption as everyone else did. It looks as if we're tearing product up. And this guy, you know, in his eyes, he's taking it that we are tearing the product up. And he did go to FedEx when the delivery was made, and he made some pictures of them. And I want to show them to you. He went there, and these are the pictures that, you know, that he's seen. They're sitting there, and they sent to us. If you notice, here's some Lorts. It's mentioned at one time before. Lorts has got, you know, some of the lighter product, and here you see the Sly piece sitting out here. Even in the pictures, from what parts you can see of them, they're damaged. This box right here has a big scratch in the box. This piece here is standing on its end. It's very nasty looking. You go to the next picture, and excuse me, I went the wrong direction. This picture here, this is, you know, one of the very first ones they want to show us. Sure, that's the way we delivered it. If you're the person who just paid, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 to have this desk delivered, you're at your dock, and you also have the Sly rep who's representing, you know, this item they sold. This is not how you want it to be received at the store level when they're getting it ready for the consumer who just got an invoice to pay for this. And you look at this picture, the same thing. You're noticing exactly what, you know, the gentleman said in his email. See boxes with holes in them, scrapes and scratches, and the tape missing and busting loose. So that got everyone here on the defensive. I seen emails start real quick after that email that Don had forwarded us from the Vegas market. Everyone starts, you know, scrambling to rush around to find out, you know, hey, what went on? Why are we doing this? And you know, it came to the next email. You know, this gentleman got involved, and we started getting pictures, and we start sending them to him. So I get to the next email, and here it is from Rob Sly, or it's actually to Rob Sly, and it came from the same gentleman who wrote the first one. It's saying that, you know, we damaged everything. And it says, last Friday on 8/19/11, I paid a visit to the California Distribution Center. I called Richard only a few minutes before arrival and said I was in the area and asked if I could come by. His reply was, no problem, come on over. Wow, what an eye-opener. Now remember, this is the same gentleman who just sent us those 3 pictures of the damaged product that was sitting on FedEx's desk, or on their dock where we delivered it. And this is his reply just a couple weeks later. Wow, what an eye-opener. As we've all seen from the pictures, mine are the same as theirs. They had just unloaded a container, and I was surprised at the condition of almost all of the Sly cartons. As previously mentioned, they were dirty, scratched, some with holes, some even had barefoot and shoe prints on them. Some showed signs of being stacked on top of another with cardboard, folds along the length of the sides and the ends that looked like heavy weight was on them. The Lort cartons were a little better, but it was hard to find a decent Sly carton. To Worldwide Logistics' credit, they had opened the cartons most destroyed to inspect the product, damaged before resealing. Incidentally, here it would be nice if we had, you know, a big colored label to put on the carton that says the product has been inspected at the warehouse and is in good shape inside the carton, even though the cartons are terrible. When retailers got the cartons that look like this, and their very first thing they think is that they're getting something else's or someone else's returned items, repaired problem, and they of course blame Worldwide Logistics because they don't know what that WWL is in fact getting them like that out of our containers. Worldwide Logistics does a lot of carton repair and retaping, and it looks like they are conscious in this regard. Richard was very kind when he says sometimes our cartons show signs of wear and tear. And it truthfully looks the opposite to me. Sometimes they don't show signs of wear and tear. It was kind of heartbreaking to see our great product in those ruined cartons. Another thought occurred to me, that we must indeed have good carton specs if our goods can survive that handling. Obviously, the majority of the above problems must have been a result of the move from China to Vietnam. Are we getting to the end of that inventory? I sure hope so. With regards to I'm going to raise it up a little bit. With regards to Worldwide Logistics' handling of our goods in their warehouse, Richard says that they really need the stand desks, credenzas, and consoles, and the long cartons on the end because of the racking issue. That it was easier and safer for them to slide the carton into the rack on end, and that there wasn't enough room on the racks to lay the items down as the arrows requested. Richard also indicated that he knew that there was a lot of Worldwide Logistics drivers who carry our product on end as well. I asked him if he could tell them to carry them correctly, and he said he would ask Don Palmer to tell them because he's the boss. Richard was helpful and went out of his way to show me around the whole warehouse, including Magnuson and some of the other manufacturers he pointed out whose cartons were all clean and organized, and etc. I left feeling better about Worldwide Logistics in the sense of how they were consciously checking out and repairing each of our cartons as they came off the container, but concerned about how they really are storing on end and in many cases shipping our product on end. I also purposely didn't include Don Palmer in this email in case we felt the need to discuss internally before getting back to him. Okay, and now you notice here, the first email you guys got to see, you got to see the email of where he says to call Cook Transport. They do a better job. Call these dealers because they're going to tell them that the cartons look bad. Worldwide Logistics is tearing everything up, and now he's taking the time to go to our facility and look at the cartons himself coming off, and he done it as, you know, just a spot notice. He didn't, you know, really tell everybody that he was coming, you know, way ahead of time. But that's, you know, what gets me to this point here. What I have been working on for a couple months in this warehouse in North Carolina, in Morganton, is I'm trying to get everyone to report to me inbound damages. A lot of times these sales reps, these stores, these manufacturers, the product is imported, they never see it. Especially in this case, the product is sold through SLI, but we warehouse it for them. They don't even have their own warehouse. So it's so important for us to get in front of this and instead of behind it. In this particular case, in these pictures I'm going to go through, this was a reaction to that first email I read you where it said that, you know, everything was dirty and we were tearing it up. So we jumped straight on the defensive, saying, hey, it's not us, it's the way the product's coming in. And this is, you know, this is actually what we're going to start seeing. If you look at the first one, you see a double stacked SLI pieces that are sitting there. Typical for a container, you know, they're going to maximize their cubes, don't blame them. You notice right here what you see, this piece here was evidently, it was stacked by a lift of some kind, and they crushed a corner, or they pushed a corner in on that box. When you go to the next slide, that's the bottom piece of what it actually, you know, what actually happened. Okay, this piece is torn up. I'm not saying the product's damaged, but when we arrive at the destination, make the delivery, they think it's us. They think, you know, we're the ones that's doing this. Goes back to the first email. Go to the next picture. Guess what? You got the same pieces. You got cartoning that's, you know, the tape's starting to let loose. This thing's actually bulging in the middle, like it's, you know, something's coming out. Then we get to these items. Look at it. You can tell right away this item's been on its end. It's even got toe marks. You can see the feet print right here. If you can see them on here, I'll try to blow it up a little bigger, just where you can see them. Those are toes, guys. Those are not shoes. Those are toes. And the box is torn up. We accepted it that way because we didn't have a choice. We unload their containers. However, we make notes of this stuff and get in front of it with our shippers instead of waiting till it's delivered to a dock somewhere and them taking notice and thinking we're the ones that done it. Same thing here. See the feet print, especially up here in this corner, those are toes, same box. You notice here, this piece here is torn, the box is torn open. You know, what do? Have we been contacting SLI and telling them to come over and look at the condition of it? I don't think we have. If we were doing this, we would not have got the first email and would not have got that list of dealers to contact about our condition of the boxes. But this is how we received it, and we just let them, you know, do this to us and let them send it to us. So then we get into some, you know, what actually happened. Here's some of the pieces. They're tore up, guys. This one here is busted. You can tell how much it is. You got glass laying in the bottom of it here that fell through. You got a piece here that the inside, the back of the case, the shelves in it's come loose. This piece has been hit pretty hard, whether it was being slid off the back of a truck. However, this one here, you can tell it fell over, got the corner crushed on it. You see what it's made out of? Guys, you know, there's very little wood in this product nowadays. If that camera picks it up, it's paper. Y'all know it just as good as I do. You know it happened while it was in the carton because you have the cartoning material here still stuck in the grain of the wood from where it was bent over at impact. Now whether this piece fell off the top stack, where it fell in a warehouse, whether it was hit by a walkie rider, something happened. You definitely can tell it was tore up. Same thing, see the foam still stuck in the edges of the piece of furniture. This piece, it took a pretty good drop. Doors broke off, the same thing he was talking about in the other email. It's apparent right here it is. The top split all the way across, so that's pretty good. To hit one to break a top in the length of it, even though it's not wood, it's paperboard, or whatever you want to call it. That's a pretty good sized chunk, guys, to let one do it. And if I had to guess, the piece fell off the top stack or something of that nature. So then after we plead our case. They went to court first. They had their day in court. They filed their complaint about us. It started with that carton right there. That's how it started at Fide's. Then we got the email from them, telling us that how bad things were. It started with this one, per our conversation at Market. Then you go to the next email. You read from where he went over to our warehouse, and seen the product, that the way it was torn, the way it came into us, and how things looked. There's one other email that I want you to see, and it's a follow-up that I think Don followed up with us. Don Palmer wrote this, and guys, I'll read it to you too. Don, I know you're probably going to be at this video, but I want to read it out loud where everyone, in case you're not there. Rob, I'll try to summarize my view of the issues and give you an action plan for worldwide logistics. I am, above all, grateful for the whole effort Bill has put into this. The obvious shared partnership we have amongst all of us, in the fact that we're all on the same track, headed in the same direction. With respect to Bill's email, I have contacted most of the dealers he listed and found Bill's comments to be an accurate reflection of their concerns. All were very unhappy with cartons and, in 2 instances, damages. Kevin Litt, Mitchell Litt Interiors, has an approved claim that remains unpaid, and Kathy Manning Walker's Furniture has a damage that she thinks has been denied, but in fact has never been filed. I will handle the resolution of the Litt claim, and Nikki Summerlin, our National Claims Director, will be talking with Kathy to resolve her issues to her satisfaction. I was encouraged that none of them had any disparaging comments about our staff or drivers, basically enjoying their worldwide logistic experience, including Mark Fide. Maureen Holm, PTS, even said she prefers filing claims on the internet and finds it easy to administer that way. According to Mark Fide, the bad carton delivery that Bill witnessed did not have any damages that Mark was aware of, even though they looked that way, guys. With respect to the problem, I think we'll all agree that for the most part this problem surrounds large 250-pound plus pieces that originated in China and were transferred eventually to Vietnam and are presently stocked in both the Riverside and High Point locations. Of the Stockton Worldview, Riverside has 22 SKUs that are over 300 pounds, and 33 more SKUs are between 250 and the 300-pound mark. The 250-pound factor is a big issue because it reflects the outcome of the handling issues. As obvious as that this is, we have to be mindful. Excessive weight creates an excessive amount of stress on the carton and the handler, unlike so many lighter SKUs in the Loft series. The Vietnam product seems to have a more rigid carton material as well. Mickey ran a report of the SLI's activity for the western United States from Alabama, Louisiana, Missouri, Washington, and all points west. The Midwest and the Northeast are not handled by Worldwide here in Morganton. For the year of 8/15 of 2010 through 8/16/2011, we had 14 claims filed on SLI product from all the receivers that were receiving it. 12 approved or in the process, and 2 of them have been denied. Oddly enough, only Kevin Litt had 1 claim from a troubled dealers list. I think we will all be happy when the transferred to China inventory exhausts itself, and hopefully the magnitude of this problem will be behind us. I hope we can continue to apply a shared monetary resolution to the claims. I believe we all agree on concealed damages. We don't really know where the damages occurred, although Worldwide Logistics fully accepts responsibility for some of them. And this is what Don has put in his Worldwide Logistics Actions Plan. Last Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in Martinsville Terminal, which handles your High Point pickups, Mickey held drivers and warehouse meetings highlighting SLY and reading Bill's letter to the underscore the level of the problem. I did. I brought all of our local drivers in as well to let them know not only SLY, but a lot of our people are having the same thing. We've got to get in front of it. We've got to tell them up front how the product is coming into us. I am giving the same presentation to our Riverside Terminal during a planned safety meeting on 9/10/2011. With respect to Southern California deliveries from Riverside, as a minimum, all 300-pound pieces will be loaded and delivered on their feet with the arrows up. And I think that's a great thing. Directional packaging, guys, is here to stay. It's the cheapest way for them to ship it. It is important for all of us to understand that the objective of a carrier in quality control and revenue is to load trailers high and tight with heavy pieces on the bottom and light pieces on the top. Long distance trailers particularly to maintain revenue targets. Therefore, we will try to move goods long distances with arrows up, but must maintain cube capacity at the same time. We are asking other terminals to do the same. Over the next month, I will be asking Southern California dealers to view our trailers. When they arrive, critiquing the status of the load and the driver, the result of which I will summarize to all. And Rob, these are my thoughts and plans for actions. Please let me know if you have any concerns with what I've said. As always, and above all, we appreciate the professional atmosphere we always find with SLY. I look forward to Bill and I communicating more closely as issues develop. I think this is a great step, guys, in the way to really handle all this information that we've just talked about. In this particular case, it's my opinion, we let a problem, create a problem for us. Normally, we try to stay in front of it with our vendors. If we tell them up front, a lot of this would have been avoided. They would understand what the product is, the way it's coming into us, and maybe this would have all been prevented. But please take the time to share this with anybody that you want to. I'll post it out on YouTube where you guys can go and look at it. If you got any comments, any suggestions, any other topics, because we will be rolling out some more, please let me know. And notice one more thing. This is really important. If you look down here at the bottom of this computer, if you notice right here, drivers apply here, we have added an ad here. So if you guys know of anyone, it's out there looking, we've actually added a place for the drivers to fill out an application that ought to come in handy to us. And thanks again. Hope this information helps everyone. Susan? Anything? No. All right. Thank you.